Half man, half bull, with a labyrinth as a home. Life wasn't perfect for this iconic monster from Greek mythology. Born into the world through trickery of the gods, this is a tale of tragedy, and once again evidences the despicable nature of the deities that ruled over ancient Greece. Hello, and welcome to Pantheon Mythology. Today we'll be exploring the background and story of the Minotaur. Get your tissues ready, ladies and gentlemen, as you won't be getting a happy ending here. That's what she said. The origins of this man-beast, which happens to be my nickname, begin with a man named Minos, one of three sons of yet another of Zeus's affairs, this time with Europa. Minos and his brothers were to compete over who would be ruler of the Greek island Crete, following the death of its previous king and the boy's adopted father, Asterion, who stayed by Europa's side despite her shenanigans with Zeus. In an attempt to prove his worthiness, Minos prayed to the god of the sea, Poseidon, requesting a bull, white as snow, to be sent to him as a sign, and, with that, claim the throne as his own. Poseidon obliged, gifting the bull to Minos. However, the life of the bull was to be taken as a sacrifice to honour the sea god. With his worthiness now on full display following this interaction with Poseidon, Minos successfully ascended to become king, and, with this newfound power, banished his brothers from Crete. Now as the ruler of the island, it was time for him to fulfill his vow and sacrifice the bull. Minos, however, had grown quite fond of the majestic, white-as-snow bovine and instead slayed another in its place, hoping Poseidon wouldn't notice. Notice he did though, and the trident-wielding, chariot-riding deity was not happy, to say the least. As punishment, Poseidon, using his godly powers, made Pasiphae, the wife of Minos, fall in love with the bull. Now, I'm not talking love as in how you love your pet. I'm talking proper love. Oh, you ancient Greeks, never change. Some versions of this tale describe how Poseidon recruited Aphrodite as she owed him a favour, cursing the wife of Minos to fall for the animal. Blinded by lust and desire for the bull, the Queen of Crete sought the help of Daedalus, who constructed a wooden cow, hollow on the inside, conveniently with just enough space for her to climb into and present to the bull in the guise of a cow, which she did. Our white-as-snow friend, obliviously appreciative of the rear end of the opposite sex, approached and went to satisfy himself, the wooden cow, and ultimately Pasiphae. Yep, we went there. And from this moment of passion, Pasiphae was with child. Except the child was what we know to be the half-man, half-bull Minotaur, which she named Asterion, the same name as her husband's stepfather. How sweet. Initially, she was able to care for and nurture young Mine. However, as he shot up in size, he became ferocious, craving and devouring humans to nourish himself. They grow up so fast. Bizarrely, Minos was quite furious with his wife's affair and was unable to bond with the Minotaur. Seeking advice from the oracle Delphi, Minos commanded Daedalus to construct a great structure to house the Minotaur. This became to be the Labyrinth. During the construction of the Labyrinth, King Minos learned that his son, Prince Androgeus, who was fully human by the way, had been killed. There are conflicting reports on the circumstances of his death. However, it is widely agreed that the Athenians were responsible, and due to this, the king waged war upon Athens, and won. Following this, Minos demanded that Athens pay a tribute to Crete of 7 maidens and 7 youths. Everyone, 7 or 9 years, depending on the source, would be placed into the labyrinth to be either consumed by the Minotaur that lived within the walls of the maze, or lose their lives trying to find their way out. When the time came for the third sacrifice, Theseus, the Athenian prince and son to King Aegeus, stepped up, vowing to kill the monster, for he was a hero and apparently also a heartthrob, as the daughters of King Minos, Ariadne and Phaedra, fell madly in love with him on his arrival to Crete. Ariadne, terrified by the thought of Theseus being killed by her half-brother, went to Daedalus, the architect of the labyrinth, and begged for his help. On learning the routes through the maze, she raced back to her new love to tell him, also handing him a ball of thread which he could use to retrace his steps, should he successfully complete his assassination. Theseus entered the maze, thread behind him, and finally would encounter the monster within. A tense battle ensued, but eventually Theseus would claim victory, killing the Minotaur with his bare hands, although a sword and club are referenced in some versions. With the beast now slain, Theseus rounded up all of his fellow Athenians and led them all to safety. The daughters of King Minos joined Theseus on his boat back to Athens. However, Ariadne was abandoned on the island of Naxos, despite everything she had done to help in both the killing of her half-brother and the survival of the Athenians. Talk about grateful, eh? Instead, Theseus continued to Athens with Phaedra, who he planned to make his wife. Before leaving for Crete, Theseus had told his father, King Aegeus, that he would change the colours of his sails to white if he had been successful on his mission, and if he had perished, the sails would remain black. Obviously giddy from the excitement of returning home with his wife-to-be, Theseus forgot to swap the flags over. When the king saw the ship, black sails still raised, stricken with grief, he committed suicide, throwing himself into the sea. This then explains the origin of the name the Aegean Sea. So, why is this a myth of sadness? Well, the Minotaur was born due to trickery of the gods and through no fault of his own, seen as a monster, locked away to live alone in a maze of never-ending corridors. He was a prisoner, hated by all but his mother, betrayed by his sister, and ultimately hunted and killed like an animal. Many lives were lost, young ones at that, to feed its insatiable hunger, while King Aegeus took his own life, thanks to his son's forgetfulness. Just so much needless death. There's also the bestiality, but the less said about that the better. So, what are your thoughts on the tale of the Minotaur? Was he a victim or a villain? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, we'd really appreciate it if you gave it a like and subscribe as we release new content every week. Also, why not check out our Minotaur design on our clothing brand, Pantheon Apparel. You'll find it in the Greek Pantheon amongst the other legends from Greek mythology. We'll leave a link in the description below. Check out this video on the left for a random video chosen for you by YouTube, and check out our 60-minute binge playlist on the right to go on a journey across the pantheons. As always, thank you for watching. See you on the next one.